What's going on internet? The Black Guy here, aka TVH, and to be honest, I was fulfilling my Magi duties in Assassin's Creed Origins and I had an epiphany. Wow, I'm actually having fun. It's nice to see what Ubisoft can do when they actually take their time with their games. It got me thinking about this company as a whole and how they're so inconsistent. For every gem that they release, there's sure to be a dud to follow. For every Beyond Good and Evil, there's a Steep. For every Rainbow Six Siege, there's a Far Cry Primal. And for every Mario Rabbids Battle Kingdom, there's the Crew. But why? Let's explore that idea.
It's good to me. It's good to eat.
The first and most obvious reason why Ubisoft often lets us down is because sequel fatigue. In a day and age where games are becoming more expensive to develop, it's a risk to bet on new IPs. So what do? You rely on tried and true formulas of the past. The problem is Ubisoft doesn't have many tried and true formulas. I can understand why they annualized Assassin's Creed for the past few years. I mean, at one point the AC franchise was on top of the gaming industry. Their earlier games were critical darlings and the fans ate them up, including myself. This led to large piles of cash rolling in, and Ubisoft thought to themselves, well, why not do this every year? Now obviously that experiment failed because the quality of the AC games dropped, but like I said earlier, I can understand their way of thinking that led to that annualization of that franchise. What I don't understand is, why are we getting yearly releases of Far Cry? Let's have a real conversation about Far Cry, ladies and gentlemen. Far Cry, the franchise, has never been consistent as a whole.
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
Far Cry 1 was a decent open world shooter, but when you hear about that game, hardly anyone talks about the gameplay. People talk about whether or not their PC was able to run it at max settings back in the day. I feel like over the years, people forgot that Far Cry 1 is in the same boat as Crysis 1. People use that game to measure their online penis. Gameplay was just above average. Far Cry 2 is a mixed bag. I mean, some people loved it, a lot of people hated it. Far Cry 3 was universally appraised. That was my favorite in the series. Far Cry 4 was just more of 3, it was meh. And Ubisoft, y'all need to take Far Cry Primal in the bag and just shoot it like Old Yeller. Now we got Far Cry 5 coming down the pipeline, and we'll see how that turns out. The point I'm trying to make is, who is begging for all these new Far Cry so frequently? Take your time, Ubisoft.
It's good to me. It's good to eat.
Reason number 2 Ubisoft is a disappointment is because the majority of their AAA releases are open world for no reason. The Division, Ghost Recon, Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, Steep, Far Cry, The Crew. I mean, who thought it would be fun to make an open world driving game where you had to actually drive across the United States? I don't want to drive across the nation in real life. I'd rather just catch a damn flight. But furthermore, what does making all your big franchises open world do? It feels like these companies are making open world games for the sake of making open world games. A game being open world doesn't change the fact that Aiden Pierce is about as interesting as watching paint dry. An open world doesn't change the fact that I couldn't name you one character in the world of the Division. I just wish that they would put their resources more towards creating memorable characters and experiences. Ubisoft claims an outbreak happened in New York during the Division, but not once did we see one sick person and how that affected everyone outside of the obvious. It was just a bunch of dudes shooting each other in the snow. Don't tell me they can't do it either. Ubisoft has shown flashes of greatness like in Watch Dogs 2, when Horatio brought Marcus to his job at the fake Google, and they were talking about his experience of being black in the workplace, and Mark was like, yo, I can relate and all that other stuff. I mean, that was a flash of greatness that I remember Ethos and I discussing. All I'm saying is, there's nothing wrong with a more linear, well-written experience. I've kind of enjoyed them more as I've gotten older because there's no responsible adult out there that has time to play several open world games a year. But if you do choose to make the game open world, just make sure that it actually benefits the experience. Otherwise, you're just wasting everybody's time.
It's good to me. It's good to eat.
Let's keep this portion of the video short and simple. Ubisoft, I am tired of climbing some large structure to synchronize the map and then unlock a bunch of pointless shit to do on the map. So many of your games do this to the point that it's starting to feel like a chore. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Watch Dogs, and I think they did it in the Division 2, but don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. I personally enjoyed the way that Breath of the Wild handled open world. It was literally an open world. You could do and see anything you wanted off rip, and you had to suffer the consequences of getting your ass beat if you went into an area you weren't ready to be in. All I'm saying is, you guys have a lot of franchises in your stable, and too many of them play similar. If I'm paying for a different experience, then I want a different experience.
It's good to me. It's good to eat.
If there's one thing the gaming community hates, it is smoke and mirrors. Ubisoft has become notorious over the years for creating misleading vertical slices. Every E3 they reveal some new game that looks breathtaking and amazing, then a year later the game looks completely different. Mechanically that's fine, I mean gameplay is going to evolve over time due to balancing changes, but you can't make drastic changes to the visuals or people are going to feel cheated. The original E3 reveal of Watch Dogs is still one of the best looking games to never release. They've done this with Rainbow Six Siege, Ghost Recon Wildlands, and other games. To make matters worse, Ubisoft claims the main reason for doing this is console parity. If you don't know what that is, that's basically them admitting that they could push gaming visuals forward on PC, but they refuse to because they don't want to hurt the console gamers' feelings. They don't want you to play the PS4 or the Xbox One version and feel like you're less of a gamer because the PC version looks so much better. It's gotten so bad that when Ubisoft reveals new games, if you just head down to the comment section on that trailer, it won't take long before you find comments like, "I can't wait for the downgrade," or "I can't wait to see the real version next year."
It's good to me. It's good to eat.
Quick search on YouTube and you'll find tons of glitch compilations for Ubisoft games. It started with Assassin's Creed Unity and it seems like the community has been on y'all ass since. I understand open world games are gonna have issues, but it seems like your games always have more issues. Even in Assassin's Creed Origins, I've witnessed boats spawn out of thin air in the middle of the desert. Rockstar's GTA 5 runs beautifully and it just makes me wonder what is going on at Ubisoft. Take your time, test your games. I shouldn't be falling through the map in several of your games.
It's good to me. It's good to eat.
Number one thing that pisses me off about Ubisoft is all their wasted potential. Easter eggs have been placed throughout several of their franchises that have hinted over the years that their games are connected. It started with Watch Dogs 1. If you used your phone to scam people, then you would find Abstergo employees walking around the streets of Chicago. And to make things more interesting, Ubisoft came out and admitted that Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, and Far Cry all exist in the same universe. So why have they not done anything with it? Easter eggs are cool, but they could pull off something that we haven't seen in gaming before. Their own cinematic universe similar to Marvel's. Imagine finding out in Watch Dogs 2 that Marcus is a descendant of Bayek from Assassin's Creed Origins and he has to draw from Bayek's memories to take down modern day corporations. I'm sure some of you are throwing your money at your screen right now. It's just a lot of wasted potential here and it's frustrating to see because I know Ubisoft can create some great games. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you'll never miss another video. Also consider pledging my Patreon. It helps keep the lights on. Link in the description box below. Peace.